I think I'm live. All right, so Jake's going to be a little bit late today. I'm just going to start talking. So the title of today is weapons grade communication and the ability to control a population's thinking. So last night I was watching a documentary on Cambridge Analytica, and I've always known about the power of some of these things, but I found it really amazing and eerily similar to what we do at Market Maker. And before I go into this and how to implement this in your business, of course, if you haven't already gone to marketmakercall.com, what's up? Yeah, I'm live. Can you get out of my office? That's all right. Come here. Come here. You got to say hi now. You can't. That's rude. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. So, if you haven't already, go to marketmakercall.com, watch a short video on what we do, how we do it, how we generate leads for you, nurture those leads with your brand, and then ultimately deliver them to you as appointments on your calendar. It's amazing. Obviously, in the past, that's not what I've said to go to Market Maker Call because we have just cracked the code on this. And so it's pretty darn cool. Now, back to the topic in particular. What the documentary talked about specifically was the ability of the Cambridge Analytica campaign to profile through personality tests the people that they wanted to connect with the most, that they thought they'd be able to change their opinions on the election. And the way that they did this was, first what they did was they went through and they had those silly little quizzes on Facebook, and those quizzes gave them access to all of that person's data, all that person's friend list, but most importantly, gave them the ability to identify who they wanted to target. After they got that data and that information, what they were able to do was then target those people with specific ads for the opposition, against Hillary, because Cambridge Analytica actually worked for the Trump campaign. And so if you think about what we always prescribe at Market Maker, the first step, right, in all marketing and lead generation is simply to get the lead to raise their hand, the prospect to say, hey, I'm over here and I'm looking to buy or sell a home in the near future, which is pretty dynamite, right? So the fact that that is the first target, right? And then after that, the goal is to change the perception of that individual to look to you as the authority, as the person who has the clout, the status in your market, right? And we do that through retargeting campaigns, just like Cambridge Analytica. We do that through the content distribution, and the content distribution being based on that prospect's timing and motivation. So it's like super dialed in, right? It's just amazing to me, the eerie similarities. And I thought that it would be an interesting topic because one of the things that they were trying to do in this process was get Cambridge Analytica and those types of campaigns labeled as weapons grade communication technologies, which would be then banned by these governments. And so for us as real estate agents, it's a much easier lift to change somebody's perception from, who's the best real estate agent in town, right? Than it is to get somebody to switch from one candidate to the other. And I just think that, the power of this, the time that we're in, the technology, the ability to do this in such a targeted fashion is probably going to get banned in the future for us as well. It's probably not going to last. And I'm not talking about next year or even 2 or 3 years from now. But the main goal of this documentary, which, by the way, it's on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. I forget the name of it, was to bring awareness to the population and make data rights a fundamental human right, where you got to own your own data and you got to own the rights to your own data. And so, again, if you're not using these technologies properly, the agents that are going to come in and kick your butt. And I think that it's important for us to be aware, know how to use them, know what to do with them, and make sure that we're using them right. Usually I have a moment to take a sip of coffee and Jake chimes in. Still waiting for Jake here. He is in the middle of an appointment. So I'm probably just going to keep it brief today. Again, the main goal is to identify the target, right? And I want to talk about that. I know I've said it before in the past. If you think about all real estate marketing in general, there's basically two forms. There's marketing yourself, there's marketing the property. But the idea of marketing the property is one that I think we all kind of get mixed up. You know, what we're doing in that process is we're just simply trying to get a prospect to identify themselves. You can't sell a home over an ad. You can't sell a listing over an ad, right? You have to talk to them. You have to meet with the prospect, show them the house. And so the goal of the advertising in the first place is, again, to just simply get the prospect to raise their hand. The goal of Cambridge Analytica's campaign, again, was to have somebody fill out one of those silly quizzes, which are pretty compelling. I've filled out several of them. Sometimes I can't resist. I never share them on my newsfeed. But again, that was to profile and target to the specific source that they wanted to be able to identify, so that they can then come back over the top with this over the top campaign, right? This emotional based direct response style campaign with image ads and retargeting ads in Facebook to then change the perception of the consumer or the voter in that case. And so for us, the perception that we're trying to change of the consumer through this process is, you know, if it were me as the agent, hey, Mike's the best agent in town. Hey, Mike's the most authoritative agent in town. Mike is the most, you know, the highest status agent in town. Do business with Mike. And so it's a fun thing. If you guys aren't doing this, again, go to marketmakercall.com. We'll show you how we do this for you and a lot more. Finish closing the gap by delivering them right to the voting booth, the toll booth, so to speak, to your calendar, right? After they've been indoctrinated. Go watch that documentary and circle back and let us implement this for you. You guys, I don't know what happened to Jake today. So again, it's a little funky here with me just by myself. So he picked the topic of this in particular, which is more of a discussionary topic. If it were going to just be me by myself, and I would have known that, I would have broke down the guaranteed sell for you, which is something I'll probably do later on this week in one of our lives. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching. The goal is to always build a business that works harder for you than you do for it. Make it a great day.